Oh my God, did you guys see IMRN? After the stream, or actually during the stream, we were like, there's a good chance it's going to hit $14. And right now it's at $19.49. Maybe it's going to break 20. I don't know. I'd be a little bit nervous in this area. Maybe it's going to, poke its head through, but I'd be very cautious at these levels. But I got to say, it was a pretty clean setup. There was a lot of momentum behind it. We're going to talk about it first thing in the charts. And also something else you guys are going to notice is my account balance is, $9,000 right now. It's because I moved over $3,000 to my margin account, but it accidentally went into my cash account. So let's see if we can get that out of the cash account. They said it might take up to 4 days. So it might be a little confusing for the next few days, but ultimately it's not that big of a deal. We just won't touch the cash. The reason I moved the cash into the margin account is so we can do maybe a little bit more afternoon trading. I'll talk about that in the video once we go to the charts as well. Ultimately though, we had IMRN, IDEX, IZEA, all having really nice potential setups. So we're going to talk about all those setups, my trades, my pre-market trade. We're also going to talk about a little bit my new rule that I made in yesterday's recap video, what I want to do with pre-market and any sort of trade that I'm not 100% with. And that kept me green today. Although you could maybe even argue that maybe I would have been greener if I didn't do it, but who knows? It definitely protected me on one trade specifically, and risk management is sometimes it's always the most important part. So definitely going to be reviewing that as well. Overall though, guys, beautiful action we're seeing in the markets, and I can't wait for tomorrow. I think we're going to see this nice afternoon action we're seeing now, probably in the morning. Obviously, I don't want to have any biases. I don't want to go into tomorrow with any expectations, but Wednesday typically tends to be a hotter day. So let's see what we can squeeze out of it. For now, let's go to the charts. And remember guys, if you do enjoy the content, don't forget to leave a like. If you're totally new here, keep in mind we go live every morning at 9:15 a.m. to first review the watch list and then trade the market open. I would love to see you there. So if you want to learn more about trading and join us, definitely hit that subscribe button and the bell icon too. Let's go to the charts now and recap the biggest lessons from today. Wow. Welcome back, guys. IMRN. Wow. This one, we were talking about it in the stream. We ended the stream around 11:30, so right around here somewhere. And this is we were talking about IMRN. Just really quickly, to wrap it up, to talk about what was going on with IMRN, let's scroll back a little bit further. Pre-market, this thing was absolutely exploding. Came from like $2, ripped all the way up to here. It was up like 500% pre-market, just ridiculous. Out of the gates, this thing opens up here, punches up about 30%, and then quickly pulls back. I'm almost kind of happy I didn't trade this one because I probably would have got stuck with TOS lag in the first 3, 4, 5 minutes. It's always very laggy. So if I traded IMRN out of the gates, I probably would have wanted to buy somewhere here pre-market, maybe on this pullback as we broke 10, and buy the pullback here, and then really trade this one with that potential breakout kind of setup with IMRN. But I don't know, this one could have just as easily, sold off and you've been down 10%. So I basically said, you know what, IMRN, I'm just going to leave it alone. It did have the smallest float of the stocks that we are watching today, at least on our top three. 3.2 million float. There's an Australian biotech with clinical phase 2 trials, FDA meeting, yada yada. So definitely had a nice catalyst. So let's quickly see, what happened on this one. Why, it was up 500%, just absolutely ridiculous. And remember, if you guys want to check this, the news, I always encourage you guys to check it out on your own time. But on here, the most important thing is, does it have a catalyst? How is the stock reacting? And how can we trade off the momentum that the catalyst is really bringing to the table? So that's kind of what we're doing here. IMRN really pulled back, and at around $6, I was $6.50. I was a little bit nervous. I was like, I was expecting kind of this move, but I was expecting it a little bit, before 11 o'clock or something like that. I didn't really think by 12 we would get this late big move, and it's still running, absolutely insane. When we were thinking about trading this one again, it was actually after this little setup here. We were thinking, okay, it's holding its highs here pretty nicely, and then VWAP, we had that break of VWAP, and then this is really where it started getting interesting. When VWAP was broken and we started running here to the highs, right here, we had 1, 2, 3 pullbacks, and then we had a longer pullback, and then boom, another big rally to the upside. So this thing's been ripping like crazy, And on the stream, I said, maybe we're going to see 14 again. I'm not sure if we're going to break 14, but lo and behold, now we're already almost at $20, $19.49. So IMRN, super nice setup, and I wish I could have, should have, would have, had a trade available to trade this one. It's always hard to say, like, in hindsight of what you would have done, or it's easy to say in hindsight what you would have done in terms of, like, yeah, I mean, this is a perfect 1 minute pullback, I would have traded this, but ultimately, I love when I see stocks really gaining momentum later in the day with big volume. I mean, this is more volume than we saw in the open, and this is one of the top stocks in the day. So actually right now it is the top small cap gapper with over $500 million being traded today. So this is a hot stock, and I would have loved to get aggressive on this one. I'm not totally sure, obviously, like I said, where I would have tried to get aggressive. Maybe somewhere here on this curl back to the upside, maybe on one of these dip buys. I don't know, maybe before VWAP, and then I sell the break of VWAP. It's so hard to say what I would have done, but I would have loved trading this one. You guys probably noticed that my account value is at 9,366. That's because not accidentally, but I deposited $3,000 into a different account of mine, my margin account, and I accidentally put it into my cash account. I can't move that money away, unfortunately, they said 4 business days internal transfer. That's how long the funds take to settle. But I'm thinking, since I'm going to have $3,000+ to trade tomorrow, with my normal cash account, maybe I'll be able to withdraw that money into my margin account. So this should go back to $6,000. If it doesn't go back to $6,000, we're just gonna ignore the fact that there's an extra $3,000 in this challenge account, in this cash account. I'm not gonna trade it. But if it does, that would be ideal. Then we could, then it's going to go back to the amount it should be at. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that if you're totally new here. I'll remind you guys in the live stream tomorrow. But if we just go to the monitor tab, actually, what I wanted to say is the whole reason I moved $3,000 over is because I could use maybe a bit more funds for maybe looking for some overnight plays. I know overnights have been a huge discussion on this stream, so I want to maybe make an account for overnight trades. I'm still kind of thinking about it, but that's kind of what my thought process is behind making it another account for possible swing trades. Yeah, okay, so first trade, let's go here to IDEX. This one, if you guys were on the stream, you probably saw me reviewing it first thing because we did it pre-market. This was actually pretty sweet here. Wow, IDEX at $1.24. This one's absolutely rallying. Oh, so nice. We had some good follow through here on these stocks, but it just, today was like 11 to 12 o'clock. So super unfortunate that I was no longer, I didn't have any more trades available. So let's just review what we got. IDEX was one of our lead gappers on the day. This thing was up about somewhere around here. So it was up about 90% pre-market, 128 million float, US software company with a huge order of 2,300 electric taxi cars, and has a catalyst, is between, well, it's actually under $2. I usually like trading those stocks between $2 and $7, but it kind of fits the criterion with everything else. So let's kind of review IDEX a little bit. Pre-market, the news came out actually somewhere here, little reminder news, nothing kind of new, but like some article came out pre-market, kind of aggressive. Yeah, 4:30 right here. I mean 14:30. So this was like at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyway, I actually ended up trading this one. I got a nice little entry here at 105 with a half position size. Remember on yesterday's recap, I said anything trading in the pre-market or setup I don't really like, I'm going to trade with half position size. Boom, done. So I only traded this one with about $500. This was a nice little run up here, about 5%. I should have probably just closed it and took my profits, but I was waiting for just a little bit bigger move. I had my limit order right around here, 213 to sell. So it was kind of unfortunate that we actually hit 213, but I removed I stopped out of this one when we pulled back, and it looked like it might not hold, and eventually it did. We actually did get a little spike here to the upside. I actually got out at 107, so I only made 2 cents a share. Not really the best anything, but still walked away with $10 on this one with a $500 position. It is what it is. At least it wasn't red, and at least I technically got the setup I wanted. I could have maybe made 2 trades out of it, trade this one and then trade this one here. That would have probably been another way to trade this one, but I don't know. It is what it is. Anyway, I really got to start taking my profits a little bit sooner pre-market maybe, but It's tough to say because like the same setup next time could easily go up, 15-20%. You just don't really know. And I don't know. Typically though, if I'm up 5%, usually taking profits is not a bad idea. IDEX, we get a really nice bounce here. Out of the gates, I was actually waiting for this one to break 1.1. I thought we had the potential. And, this was like a 7-8% range we kept on flickering back and forth in. I missed an entry here at 1.01. I was setting up the limit order and flash pulled back, and then I placed the limit order. I was just a little bit too slow. And it was not totally my fault because well, everything's technically your fault if you didn't get it or you did get it or whatever happens. But you notice here that it's extended decimal places. So I had to say, I had to remove auto send. I had to say join the bid. Then I had to go and edit the order. And then I was here and I was typing in the order and I was like, oh my God, faster, faster, faster. And this is obviously on the live stream with the lag of the morning with US. So it was just like, so it was. It would have been much quicker if the spread was properly fixed. So that's a little bit unfortunate that I did not get that first trade. That's the one I wanted. Then we had the big pullback here, and this is what I was talking about pre-market. This is big long-term support and resistance. If you go here to the daily chart, we drew these lines out, basically near the bottoms of the price and then near the tops. Basically in this range, and then some other ranges we have some top and bottoms in these areas. And so here you can see these big long-term support and resistance zones, and you can see we pulled all the way back to this one. I saw this on my other screen and boom, I quickly entered this trade. Unfortunately, I took profits this time too quickly. This ran up about 7-8%, and I sold, I don't know, for like a 3% profit. It wasn't really that spectacular. So that was a little bit unfortunate, but at least I took profits. At least I moved on because this, kept on selling off. Now, IDEX, I would love to be, trading this one right now. It's absolutely beautiful. It's so unfortunate. Right now on the stream, we could be like killing it. Well, I probably would not be on the stream any longer, but, my point is, just huge opportunities. And yeah, so maybe with that extra $3,000 we're going to put in the margin account, maybe I'm actually going to be just switching to the account after the gap and go is basically completed, after I used all my trades. I don't know. I'll think about it. We'll see what you guys think as well in the stream, and leave comments below. Let me know what you guys think. What should I do with the $3,000? Obviously in the margin account, I'm only going to have 3 trades, right? That's why I did $3,000. So 3 trades, $1,000 for each trade. That's kind of what my logic was. Although I could, in theory, maybe trade it more aggressively. I could just use all $3,000 because it wouldn't be the best risk management strategy, obviously. So I would have to think about that. But I always like to allocate my account properly. And I think going in with a $3,000 position size might just be a little bit too aggressive, because if we have, let's say, 3 losses in a row, all of a sudden, we're not trading with $3,000 anymore. We're trading with like $2,500, which, well, okay, that would be huge losses. But let's just, that's an example. But if we're, always trading with $1,000 position size, we could still pretty much be trading with a $1,000 position size, even with 3 losses. That's why we, always kind of allocate properly. I think it's so important, because even a coin toss, if you flip, let's say your win ratio is, 50-50 and you are tossing a coin, then still, there is the chance that you're going to have, like 9 heads in a row. It's not very common, but it happens. So that's the same with trading. Even if your win ratio is 70-30 and you're right 70% of the time, there are going to be days where you have, based on pure statistics, you're going to have several red days in a row. It's just going to happen every now and then. So you have to be able to set yourself up to weather those kind of I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like, I don't know, rough seas or whatever. And that's kind of what we're doing now, because right now in, these last, last 2 months have not been the best for me. I mean, we're growing the account, but very slowly. I keep tripping over myself. So I need to, I find it very important to manage your risk properly, because eventually I will be on a green streak again. Eventually I'm going to have my best month ever. Eventually, the trading's going to turn around a little bit, but how horrible would it be if I, blew up the account before that happened? So you just have to make sure your risk management is spot on. Obviously you don't want to overly risk manage yourself and limit your upside by taking two profits too quickly and yada yada, which sometimes can happen. And that's definitely been the case for me a little bit, kind of taking profits too early. But I don't know, there's many things to talk about with that, and it's a super interesting discussion. Anyway, 1.1 here with IDEX, long-term support and resistance that we failed to break out here, retested here, failed to break out here, finally got a retest and breakout, and running here. So great trading today, just a little bit later in the day. So I only made $10 today, which is kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. Let's keep going here. The third trade on the day was IZEA. Let's quickly go to this one, IZEA. And this one, I probably should have not been doing what I was doing on this one. So I'm kind of slapping myself on this one a little bit. Let's just zoom out for a second. This one was a big runner the day before. Here's the 5-minute chart. I mean, we were down in the 50 cents. We were even down further than that. I think this was at 0.0 cents just a few weeks ago. Crazy. So now we're at like, $2 and $2.70 almost pre-market. Actually, $2.70 was the high, I think, at pre-market. Let's quickly review. This thing gapping up 110% pre-market, 30 million float. US contact and info company, 6-figure contract with a big Fortune 500 client. So really nice catalyst there. You can see it here, worldwide shares up, secures new Fortune 500 customers. So any type of merger, collaboration, some sort of new deals, some partnership, any time of work with a big company or the government, they tend to perform very, very well. I should have been trading this one, IZEA pre-market, and I almost did. Right here in this break of this kind of like $2, $1.90, $1.80 area, I almost bought this pullback. I missed this one. I think I even had a limit order out for it. But anyway, and I never ended up, getting aggressive and pulling the trigger. And it's kind of unfortunate because this thing had many, many good runs to the upside. So I'm kind of kicking myself that I missed all those runs, but it is what it is. Anyway, IZEA, kind of pulls back here pre-market. I was constantly waiting for some sort of reversal. And in this area, this is what I did right today. I was like, this is a double bottom, not a pattern I trade all the time, but it looks like, this could break VWAP here, and maybe it's going to have a reversal. So, and there was big buyers coming in here. You can kind of see it on the volume. Oops, sorry for moving around too much, but big volume here. Not super big, but just enough to potentially have a nice reversal here. We started popping to the upside. I got in on this candle as we were moving higher. Unfortunately, we didn't have that continuation. I took a 4-cent loss on this one, but I also used half position size. So I only took a $500 share size because I was like, not my favorite pattern. I'm going to be very risk averse on this one. Boom, that was a really good idea because this ends up selling off. I, cut my losses, yada, yada, not a big deal. And I move on. The second trade though, I was looking for this basically same move, continuation, breakthrough VWAP. We had a nice little 5-minute setup. You can kind of see it here, big 5-minute breakout, but we didn't get that fall through. I honestly should not be trading this pattern. I should have traded again with like 500 position size because this one has been really letting me down. Unless we're having, a little bit later in the day, bigger volume, something like this, something where we're really having some nice breakouts. We even get technically a pullback here to 197. That would have been a really nice entry. So I don't know. I really need to stop trading this setup right here. This one gets me on the wrong side. This has been like the biggest reason why this month and I are at like break even. Basically these breakout potentials and continuations when we're trending to the downside still. It's annoying because it's actually one of my favorite moves. It just lately it has not been working. So I need to really ease off the trigger on it. I mean, with IMRN, doing that pattern at the right time, like here on this one, we have the 5-minute breakout, these pullbacks kind of consolidate in this area. And ever since then, 159% up. So it's like, it works, but not always. And you just got to pick and choose your battles a little bit. And that's, like I say, that's the hardest part about this challenge because you only have, how much buying power you have on that day. And that's really, really tricky. You're limiting yourself. Heiko had a good example. It's like running a marathon, but the only rule is you can only take 3 steps a day, kind of. Obviously, it's not like the same example, but it's like, okay, well that sucks, this marathon is going to take forever. And that's kind of how this $25,000 challenge is going. Obviously, it picks up because as you make money, you can take bigger steps, so to say. So by the end of the marathon, you know, you're taking like mile-long steps. So you're going to be there pretty quickly. You know, the challenge should get faster and faster, but it's just, you know, going a little bit slow. So that's just how it is. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up here. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much at the end. I'm just kind of getting out some thoughts, and you guys have some nice comments too when I kind of ramble a little bit. You guys like, apparently, from what you guys say, the thought process behind what I do. So I hope it helps, and that's why I left it in here. If it's too long, let me know. But, you know, you guys can always watch it on ×2 speed, so I don't feel too bad. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm going to wrap up here. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe if you're new. We're going to go live like every morning at 9:15 a.m. to review the watch list, trade the market open. I'd love to see you there, so definitely consider subscribing. And, yeah, guys, till tomorrow then, stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.